Oh, this guy. When Colin Kaepernick first started protesting in the NFL back in August of 2016, he was asked why was he protesting. He made this statement. He said, "I'm not going to stand to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder." What in that statement says anything about vets? Seriously, what in the statement says anything about veterans? What in that statement says anything about hating America? The NFL protest, which began in 2016, had nothing to do with Donald Trump. It had nothing to do with veterans. Absolutely zero. And what has happened is it has been co-opted by the left and the right to make it a divisive political issue when this is about human rights in this country. There are veterans who don't want to see bodies in the street and police walking free. That exists. There are all good people in America who want to see cops who shoot unarmed or non-aggressive citizens of any color, in this case, black citizens. They want to see that stop. And they want to see those officers held accountable. Period. That's what the protest was about. But you know, it's been co-opted now because now it's been transformed by the likes of Mike Pence, Donald Trump, and many others. Some want to make it about Trump, even though when the protest began, Trump wasn't in office. So it couldn't have been about Trump. And some want to make it about veterans because they want to distract conservatives to make this an issue they can't get on board. If you disagree with Colin Kaepernick, the NFL protest, or not, at least know what you are disagreeing with. Now, as time went on, the Democrats tried to co-opt it and make it about Trump. That was wrong. I disagree with that. Conservatives tried to make it about the veterans, about the flag itself. That was also wrong. I disagree with those conservatives. The issues that this is about, which is about people dying in the street, is perfectly laid out. People say they don't like the way that Colin Kaepernick did his protest. Do you not know that in all issues that have ever been protested about in the United States of America, there was always those people saying, now's not a good time. Oh yeah, you can protest, just don't protest this way. I don't care if it was protesting against segregation. I don't care if it's protesting against redlining. I don't care if it's protesting the labor union workers trying to galvanize in order to get better treatment on the job. I don't care if it's women protesting about equal rights. Whatever the issue, whatever it is, there will always be a group of people going, you can protest, just do it another way. If you are against the NFL protest because you don't like the manner in which it's done, the time in which it's done, whether you want to or not, you join that group of people that have been against protest because it's inconvenient to you. Not a good reason to be against a protest. Be against a protest if you disagree with the issue for which the protest is about. Now, I admit, guys, there came a time when I was I did a video. I said, look, guys, NFL players, maybe it's time to leave this protest alone because it has been hijacked by Donald Trump and the left as well, and it's become a political football that they throw back and forth, and the issue for which we were protesting is no longer in front. I think that was a fair statement to make. No reason for players to risk their careers, their livelihoods, their families' livelihoods, because let's admit it, a lot of the players that are making it to the NFL, they are carrying their entire families. Talking brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, everybody, friends, everybody is depending on them. But that was until Donald Trump kept injecting himself into this conversation in order to bolster his claims with his base. And now that Donald Trump has doubled down and started to squeeze the NFL, and the NFL has in turn started to squeeze the NFL players, I feel there is no other recourse other than to go all the way for the touchdown. That's right, time to go all the way to the end zone, march down the field, and score one for what? Not just for yourselves, but for civil rights. This is now a civil rights issue. This is bigger than football. This is about equality, racial justice, and reforming our criminal justice system so that all people get treated the same. Now, if you're against all people being treated the same in the eyes of the law, there is not much I can tell you. I won't even try to convince you that I'm a human being and that my children are human beings and we deserve the same treatment. There are black kids, brown kids, white kids being shot by cops who shouldn't be. It's because our law enforcement is out of control. It's because we do not have the proper mechanisms to put them in check and to hold them accountable for their actions. So we must protest because we demand more. I agree with Jemele Hill. We should look at the sponsors of the NFL. We should look at the owners of the NFL. If they will not care and show that they care about our protests, if they continue to show that they will side with Donald Trump as he uses this issue to further expand his base, because let's face it, he's not getting a lot of wins in Congress. Couldn't get that health care bill passed. That travel ban ain't looking good. Like, what bills has he passed? He needs this. And since he needs it, we need to stand strong or kneel strong. Because the issue was never about Donald Trump or the Democrats. It was about people. It was about accountability. It was about lawful policing. It was about transparency. It was about a justice system that worked for us all. Now, if you think that Tamir Rice deserved to be gunned down at a park in daylight for having a toy gun, if you think that was fine, maybe you disagree with this protest. I think it was a travesty, not only that he was killed, but that his murderer was not brought to justice. If you think that Philando Castile should have died in his car, though he had committed no crime, well, I guess we're going to have to disagree, because I disagree with it, and I think that officer should have been held accountable. And the list goes on and on and on. I believe it's media's responsibility at this point to take back the narrative which has been bastardized by Mike Pence and Donald Trump and used to their own devices in order to get the news cycle. If you care about justice and you care about all citizens, all U.S. citizens, then you should care about this issue. The NFL is a very powerful, profitable organization, and I believe it intends to remain profitable. If it wants to remain profitable, it needs to consider that its players are not just rich people, but their families still live in these very communities that they are protesting for. Their friends still live there. Their cousins live there. They are still those people. Just because you give a man some money does not necessarily mean he goes into this mindset that it's all about him as an individual, that he no longer remains a part of that community. He still cares about that community, and they're expressing the love for their community and speaking up for those who will not get a podium. I repeat, the protest was never about veterans. The protest was never about, do you love America? The protest was about social justice, equality, fair policing, pursuit of happiness and peace, and holding those responsible who take life wearing a badge. That's what it's about. And if you want to remain in the dark, that is a choice you will make. But as a person of the media, I will continue to speak truth to power on this issue. The NFL players, to you, I say, continue your fight. The NFL cannot retroactively install a rule that silence the First Amendment. To my conservatives who believe in their Constitution, I need you to stand with these players. The Constitution is the Constitution regardless of you find it convenient or not. It's not a question of patriotism. It's a question of fairness. The NFL players, if you continue to take a knee, media, particularly independent media like me, small independent media to large independent media, all media needs to make it their priority to get the message out about what the true narrative is and what it is not. So we need to redefine it, get it back from Trump, recalibrate it, fix it, and put it back out to the people, and then let them make their decision about what they care about. Because this is not about veterans. It never was. This is about humanity.